My name is M Janardhan. Today I am going to discuss about Introduction to Database Management System. What is the main purpose of database management system? The primary goal of database management system to store and retrieve the data from the database. What is that? Store and retrieve. Store and retrieve. That is the main goal of database management system. Nowadays, without database, we can't get anything like credit card system, hospital information system, school information system, university information system. Okay, so many applications are available in database management system. Before going to that, what is meant by data? What is meant by database? What is meant by database management system? What are the advantages and disadvantages of the database management system over a file system? Right? Data. Data is nothing but any recordable fact. Any recordable known facts. For example, S name, S number, S marks. These are known facts. S name, Raju. S number 1. S marks 100 is nothing but what? Data. Simple example. Another example, that is a text, comma, video, comma, image, comma, audio, etc. Okay, here text is nothing but that is traditional data. These are video, image and audio. These are all multimedia data. Is nothing but first one, data. Clear? What is meant by information? What is meant by information? What is the difference between data and information? Information is nothing but simply we can say that processing data. Processing data or meaningful data. Meaningful data. For example, today I am going to write a database management system exam. If you want search DBMS videos in YouTube, and then what is the in output, so many images are available in internet. Okay, out of those millions of videos, we choose only DBMS videos. DBMS videos are information. DBMS data or information. Suppose if you want search data structure videos, that is millions of videos are available, but those millions of videos we choose only data structure. These data structure videos are information. That is nothing but data and information. In data is the structured data, unstructured data. Structured data is in the form of that is a SQL, structured query language. Whereas in the unstructured data, nowadays we use Facebook, histogram, Twitter, so many images, uploading the image, uploading the videos, interact with the social media. Okay, for a day that is a 6 petabyte data can be generated. That is a unstructured data. This is nothing but data, this is nothing but information. And then next one, and what is meant by database? What is meant by database? Database is nothing but an organized collection of records. Is nothing but database. Okay, simple example, student database, employee database, university database. That is a employee database having employee name, employee number. That is a database. Database is nothing but an organized collection of records. An organized collection of records is nothing but database. Another definition, database is nothing but collection of related data. collection of related data that represent real world entities. That is a two definition. Either we can use first one or second one. An organized collection of records. Example: S name, S number, student name, student number, student marks, address. That is S name, that is Raju. S number 1, S mark 100, address Hyderabad. And then next Rani, S number 2, S marks is a 50, Nandyal. And then third one Rahim, S number 3, and then 75, and then Kurnool. Observe here, an organized collection of records. This is first record, second record, third record. That is a yes, Raju 100 Hyderabad. That is one record. Rani 250 Nandyal. Second record. Rahim 75 Kurnool. This is an organized collection of records. Is nothing but what? That is the database. Example is the student. The table name is the student database. Student database having student name, student number, student marks, address. That is the first definition. Whereas in the second one, collection of related data that represent real world entities. Any changes in real world that can be reflected into the database. Is nothing but that is a database. Simple example, newspaper. Newspaper is a database, but we changes in real world entities, we can't affect the database. That's why that is not a database. Okay, clear? Why? Because we cannot reflect real world entities. Clear? And then that is nothing but database. Simply we can say that an organized collection of records is nothing but database. Example is the student database. Employee database, customer database, etc. What is a student database having? Student name, student number, marks, address. Employee database having employee name, employee number, employee salary, employee designation. And then whereas in the customer having customer name, customer street, social security number. Okay, that is nothing but database, right? And the next one is what is meant by database management system? Okay, database management system, a collection of interrelated data and set of programs to access those data is called database management system. That is the primary goal of database management system. What is the main primary goal? To store and retrieve. And what is the database management definition? A collection of interrelated data and set of programs to access those data is called database management system. Okay, what is the primary goal of database management system? That is a store and retrieve the data from the database. Database management, it can manage, that is a update, insert, delete, create, alter. Okay, managing the data. Okay, what is the another definition of database management system? Database management system is a software that facilitates the end user to underline That ends up to underline manage database. What is the, DBMS is a software that facilitates the end user to underline, manage the database. Is nothing but what? That is a database. Clear? That is the definition of DBMS. What is the main purpose of database management system? Store and retrieve the data. Okay. Suppose if you want to create the table, if you want to insert the data and then retrieve the data also by using so many commands that we will see in the further classes. Clear? And then next one, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of the database management system over a file system, or a difference between file system versus database management system. That is, so many things are available. That is, the first one is the data accessing problem, data inconsistency problem. Okay, third one is the data integrity. Right, first one is the data accessing problem. Second one is a data consistency. Data atomicity. Fourth one is a data integrity. Data redundancy. Data isolation. Next, concurrent execution. And then eighth one is the last one is security. And what is here? Difference between file system versus DBMS. File system versus DBMS. What is the DBMS? DBMS is a software that facilitates the end user to manage, underline the database. Is nothing but DBMS. Whereas in the file system is arranged in the hierarchical manner. First one is a root node, and then sub nodes, and the last one is a files. Okay, that is, a file is in the form of hierarchical structure or arranging the records. One rack is nothing but file. Clear? And what is the first one is the data accessing problem. What is meant by data accessing problem? Suppose, okay, I can store 10 numbers. What is a simple database? The database is the student name, student number, marks, address. I can write my blackboard, that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up to 10. And whereas in the student name also, that is a 10. Student marks also 10. I can write blackboard only 10 numbers. Okay. Whereas in the 100 numbers, how you can store? You can store the diary. Suppose I can store that is 1,000 records. How you can store? That is by using notepad or word file. Okay. Suppose 1,000 records. If I want search only one record manually, it is a very difficult. That is the drawback in file system. What is the first one is the accessing problem in file system. Okay, whereas in the database management system, to solve the problem, how can solve the problem? By using that is a client server architecture. Client server. What is meant by client? Client can request the server can send the acknowledge. Okay, by using that is a one command SQL, select S name from student, you can easily retrieve the record. Okay, that is the advantage in database management system, but disadvantage in the file system. That is the first one, data accessing problem. Second one, data consistency. Okay, what is meant by data consistency? Observe here data consistency. Okay, data consistency is nothing but, for suppose here that is the same S name, S number, student number, and then marks, address. S name Raju, S number 1, marks 10, address Hyderabad. Kiran, S number 2, and then 20 Nandyal. I mean next Ramu. I mean S number 3. I mean 10. I mean same NDL. I mean Rani 4. I mean 20. I mean Hyderabad. Observe here in this table. This table name is a student. Table name is student. In student table having S name, S number, marks. First one Raju 1, 10 Hyderabad. I mean Kiran 2, 20 Hyderabad. Observe here 10 Hyderabad and then 10 Hyderabad. That is a repetition of information. Once the repetition of information is more in database, it can look like inconsistency, data inconsistency. Okay, and what is here? Data inconsistency is a problem in file system. Problem in file system. Okay, whereas in the database management system, okay, what is the by using what? A distinct keyword. By using distinct keyword, we can eliminate duplication of names. Why? Because here this is the column level duplication 10 10. I mean Hyderabad, Nandyal. These are the column level duplication. Two types of duplications: row level duplication, column level duplication. Okay, by using row level duplication and then column level duplication, we can eliminate using database management system. Okay, that's why that is the advantage of the database management system, whereas in the disadvantage of the file system. That is the first one is the data accessing problem. Second one, data inconsistency is a problem in file system. Okay, third one is the data atomicity. And what is meant by atomicity? Okay, atomicity. What is meant by atomicity? We will see. Atomicity is nothing but either all operations reflected properly in the database in case of failures. That is nothing but atomicity. Okay, what is the actual definition? Atomicity is nothing but atomicity, data atomicity, right? Data atomicity. Either all operation, either all operations reflected properly in the database in case of failures. That is the data atomicity is the advantage of database management system but disadvantage in file system. We will see. For example, account A is $1,000, account B having that is a $2,000. Account A having $1,000, account B having $2,000, it can transfer $50. It can transfer $50 account A to account B. What is a simple example? Account A having $1,000, account B having $2,000, it can transfer $50 account A to account B. What is a pseudocode? Simple pseudocode is that is the read A, read the data item. I mean A equal to A minus 50. I mean write A, write is nothing but update the data item. That is a write A. And then what is the second one? Read B. Read B. I mean B equal to B plus 50. I mean write B, update the data item. What is a simple pseudocode? It can transfer $50 account A to account B. Okay, that is a simple pseudocode. What is the account A having? A, that is a $1,000. 1,000. Okay, $1,000. B, A equal to A minus 50, that is a $950. I mean write A also $950. Okay, clear? That is the read B. Read B is the $2,000. I mean B equal to B plus 50, 2050. I mean write B $2050. What is the first one? Read A, account A already given, that is A equal to 1000. I mean 1000 minus 50, 950. Write A, that is update the data item, 950. Read B, $2,000. B equal to B plus 50. What is the 2000 plus 50? 2050. Write A is the 2050. Observe here, after write A operation, before write B operation, what happened? After write A operation, before write B operation, a power failure occurs. What happened? That is a power failure. Power failure occur. The power failure is like hardware failures or software failures. What happened here? After write A operation, before write B operation, a power failure occur. What is the account A having? That is $1,000. I mean A equal to A minus 50 is the 950. Write A is the 950 and then B equal to 2000, and then we cannot add. We cannot add here. Why? Because power failure occurs. Okay now. What is the previous case? Actual process. But what happened after write A operation, before write B operation, suddenly a power failure occurs. And what happened here? That is the, I mean here we cannot add $50, 2000, and what is the output also? 2000. What is the before execution? Before execution 1000 plus 2000. 1000 plus before execution the sum A plus B, 1000 plus 2000, that is a 3000. 3000. After execution the sum, what is the sum? 950 plus 2000, and what is here? 2950. 2950. What is here? $50 was wasted. That is the problem in file processing. There is no such facility. That's why drawback in file system, advantage in database management system. There is a facility. Is there any problem? What is that according to our definition? Either all operations reflected properly in the database in case of failures. For suppose in case of failure can be occurred. Backup. Due to backup, and then we can take the, I mean what is that? If any power failure occurs and then backup, we can maintain that is the what happened? 2050, here also 2050, and here also 2050. What is the sum? 950 plus 2050, that is a 3000. 3000. That is the advantages of database management system. What is the drawbacks in file system? Why? There is no such facility. Is there any power failure occurs? What happened? There is a loss. Okay. That is the third one is the data atomicity. Data atomicity. First one, data accessing problem. Second one is the inconsistency. What is the inconsistency? Observe here. That is a 2000 plus, 950 plus 2000, 2950. Before execution 3000. After execution, what is the 2950? It is a inconsistency. Clear? And third one is the, fourth one is the data integrity. And what is meant by data integrity? We will see one by one. What is meant by data integrity? Data integrity means that is a constraint or conditions. Okay, what are the constraints? So many constraints are available. That is a primary key, foreign key, unique key, not null, check constraints, that is a column level constraints, table level constraints. Okay, but in this level we will discuss about only simple, that is a data integrity. Integrity means conditions or constraints. For example, check constraint. What is a check constraint? In bank balance, for everyone bank balance minimum, that is a 1000 rupees. Okay, and bank balance may never fall, that is a below 1000 rupees. That is a constraint or condition. That is a check constraint. Right. Another constraint, primary key. What is meant by primary key? Primary key is nothing but uniquely identified within the entity set. Is nothing but primary key. Suppose in our class, we know student name. Can you identify the all records? We know marks. Can you identify the all records? We know address. Can you identify all the student details? No. Why? Because student name can appear twice. Raju, same name can appear in our class. That's why we know student number. Student number is a uniquely identified within the entity set. That is a constraint. There is a facility in a database management system. That is a advantage in database management system. Data integrity is a advantage in database management system, whereas in the file system there is no such facility. There is no primary key, there is no foreign key. It is in the form of hierarchical structure, arranging the records in a file. That's why advantage of database management system. Clear? That is the integrity means constraints. What are constraints? Check constraint, unique constraint, not null, primary key, foreign key, table level constraints, column level constraint. But in this class we will discuss about, that is a simple example, check constraint and then primary key constraint. Okay, right? What is meant by primary key? Uniquely identified within the entity set. Is nothing but primary key. Okay, well known, that is a student number. Student number is a primary key, uniquely identified within the records. Right? Next one is a data redundancy. What is meant by data redundancy? For example, same example, that is a yes name. I mean S name, S number, marks, address, S name Raju, I mean S number 1, marks 10, I mean address Hyderabad, I mean Rani, 2, 20, I mean Nandyal, NDL, I mean Rahim, 3, I mean 10, Hyderabad, I mean Kiran, 4, I mean what is that, 20, and then Nandyal. Observe here, and what is here, 10, and then 10, 10 Hyderabad, I mean 10 Hyderabad, 20 Nandyal, I mean 20 Nandyal. Observe here, this is the, I mean duplication. What is the marks? Column level duplication. What is the here? This is the redundancy, repetition of same data. Okay, that is a drawback in file system. Data redundancy is a drawback in file system, but advantage in database management system. How? By using what? That is a discrete keyword. What is that? A discrete, D-I-S-T-I-N-C-T, a discrete keyword to eliminate duplication of names. Observe here, this is a column level duplication. What is a column level duplication? 10, 10, 20, 20. Suppose I can write that is a, by using query. What is that query? Select marks from, what is that here? That is a student. Table name is a student. This is the table name, student table. Select marks from student. What is the output? Actual output is a 10, 20, I mean 10, 20. Okay, but is a 10, 10 twice. That's why by using what? We apply that is a distinct, D-I-S-T-I-N-C-T, distinct of marks. Select distinct of marks. What is that output? Output is a 10 and then 20. Only 10 one time, 20 one time. That is the elimination of duplication by using dictionary keyword. That is the advantage of database management system, but disadvantage in file system. Okay, that is the data redundancy. What is the first one? Data accessing problem, I mean data inconsistency, data atomicity, data integrity, data redundancy. And the next one is the isolation. What is meant by isolation? Isolation is nothing but multiple transactions can execute simultaneously. Isolation is nothing but what? That is a multiple transaction can execute simultaneously. That is a transaction T1, I mean transaction T2. T1 followed by T2 and then T2 followed by T1. Multiple transaction can execute simultaneously. T1 followed by T2, T2 followed by T1. That is the, I mean data isolation. What is the same? Concurrent execution. Concurrent execution is a like there is a transaction T1, transaction T2, transaction T3. T1 followed by T2, T2 followed by T3. T3 followed by T2, T2 followed by T1. That is a concurrent execution. And what last one is a security. Okay, that is a database management system mostly widely used security. Where in the files there is no such facility. That is the, I mean advantages and disadvantages of the database management system over a file system. What is the main advantage of database management system? That is a store. How you can store the data? By using create the table, create table, table name. Okay, and what is the by using that is a create command, or by using insert the table. Okay, store and retrieve. That is the main advantage of database management system. But database management system supports, what is the supports? What is the different types of data models? What are the data models? We will see one by one. What is the first model is the, I mean relational model, a network model, hierarchical model. What is the different types of data models? First model is the, I mean relational model, network model, hierarchical model, ER model, ER diagram. Okay, ER diagram plays a very important role. Okay, in academic year as well as that is a gate point of view. Okay, what is meant by ER model? What is meant by entity? And what is meant by weak entity? What is meant by strong entity? What is meant by simple attribute? What is meant by composite attribute? And what is meant by derived attribute? Simple example we will see one by one. Okay, that is a, I mean different types of data models. That is according to our, I mean academic year. That is the first one is a relational model. A relational model. Second one is the, I mean ER model. ER model. ER model. I mean, third one is a network model. I mean, fourth one is a hierarchical model. Okay, in previous lecture, I hope you everything is able to understand what is by data, what is by database, and what is by database management system. What are the advantages and disadvantages of the database management system over a file system? Okay, till I hope you everything is able to understand. Okay, in next class we will discuss about the what is the relational model, ER model, network model, hierarchical model. Thank you, sir. Thank you.